Hey, what's up? How's everyone doing today? Hope you guys are great. It's been a great week for me. Business is booming. The world is opening, not fast enough for my liking, but I got to just tell you that if you're not right now moving at light speed, you are missing the point of what a crisis allows you to do. A crisis freezes people. It makes them act out of fear. And when people are making decisions and acting out of fear, they make the worst decisions of all. If you can move past that and focus on where you want to go, what your outcome is, you can literally make so much progress right now. So with that, let's rock and roll. Let's get to your questions here. I love answering them. So fire away. Who are we going to go with number one? Who's the first person on the hit parade? Drum roll. We got Stephen Joseph. What's up, Stephen?
Can you see me?
Yep, I can't see you, but I see the name Stephen Joseph right now.
There we go.
Now I see Stephen Joseph. Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, good to see you again. Quick question for you. So I'm testing out a 2-call system and trying out the hybrid 1-call. Quick question for you regarding that, though. Generally, I send a cold email out first to try to schedule appointments, and that's really good for me because I get the buyers in heat, the buyers in power.
Sure.
But when they ignore me, the vast majority that ignore me, and I start putting them on the 2-call system, should I reference the email, or should I just start with right on with my first call when I send you some information and then get back to you? Or should
No, it's okay to reference the email. Just don't say, oh, I sent you an email with detailed information, because then they'll say, oh, well, let me just go read. Let me go first read the email and then call me back later. Just say, I just sent you email, basic information, no big deal. None of this. What we used to do is, remember this, one of the things, what you don't want to do in a 2-call system is say, okay, you do the first call and the first call ends with you. Great. Let me send you some information. And then I give you a chance to review it, and then I'll get back to you next week. We'll speak on next Tuesday, when I write, and we'll discuss things in more detail. Sound good? They say, yeah, great. When you call them back the next time, you do not want this. I say this very clearly in the system. It's a big mistake people make, is I say, if you're a call, we spoke last week, I sent you out some information. Did you get a chance to review it yet? Don't say that. Right. Because if you do that, they're going to say no, because most don't. All you say is, if you're calling, send you some information, does that ring a bell? Right. So you remind that, you say, does that ring a bell? And it's a very big difference, because if you don't do that, you're going to always get that first rebuttal being, yeah, great, it sounds good, let me review the info. Then you're fighting this uphill battle versus from the beginning, saying, does that ring a bell? And then when they refer back to say, oh yeah, there was nothing in there, just some, you get it? You don't want to set yourself up to give someone that exit ramp out of the call.
Gotcha. Yeah, the only reason I asked that is because my cold email doesn't really build any rapport. And I had tested out just trying to close on the first call and saying, hey, reason for the call, I sent you an email. And then that doesn't really build any rapport. So I feel like I still need that call,
Yeah, you could just listen. You could, you mentioned it, but if you just, listen, you're doing it more to when if you say, if you recall, I sent you, hey, John, how you doing? Listen, if you recall, I sent you an email about 2 weeks ago, blah, 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 blah. Does that ring a bell? And they might say, yes. Okay, well, listen, the reason for the call today is, all you're looking to do is, by the way, to get them not to hang up on you in that first 4 seconds. Like, remember, listen, this is an important point now for everyone. Let me now move this past just your question. This is important for you and everyone else. On some level, when you're moving through a script, whether that is in person or over the phone, every single line is always about just making sure you can get to the next line. Like the outcome of the outcome of that sentence that you just, or that phrase you just made, serves 2 purposes. Number one, it's going to serve as a building block for everything that comes after it. And number 2, it just keeps them in the game to get to the next step. So how you phrase things and everything you do, remember, if something you're doing is stopping you from getting to the next step, you got to change that language pattern. And that's why when you say to someone, if you recall, does that ring a bell? Well, no, did you get a chance to review it? That's possibly not going to take you forward to the next step, because they're going to say, no, I haven't. And you're going to be forced to go backwards again. So you're always, everything you're structuring is about easing someone down. Now, what happens is that the difference is that why people struggle so much with phone selling is that when you're in person, you feel like, well, they can't hang up on me. I'm like sort of in their face, so I know I'm going to get the next pitch. I know, like, you don't have that fear of like they're just going to hang up and it's over because you're in their face, basically, right? Or they're in your office, so you feel more confident. People are not quick to hang up on you. They're just not. So you have to have that strength and conviction to understand that you're just, everything you're saying, let it unfold. Let the conversation go, and you will be able to get to this certain point where you cross over and you start asking questions, really, and they start answering. You're like, yep. That's when you start to really build that rapport.
So it's, hey, John, reason for the call. Or you might recall I sent you an email last week. And then still trying to send the information.
Yes.
Though, right?
Yes. But the point is, like, there's two ways you can do it. You could say, I sent you out you could either say, does that ring a bell? Or also, if you call, I sent you out an email last week, blah, 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 blah. And the reason for the call today, you can go right past it, okay? So you can go two ways and try which one. It depends on the industry. It depends on mostly which one flows better linguistically. Like, if you can come up with the right words that allow you to go straight to it, I would literally go right past it. For example, one of the things we used to do in solar is when you were doing a two-step solar cell, you'd say, hey, calling from XYZ Solar Company, you can say, have you gotten your free quote yet? Like, it was like that simple, just to get to this point and say, no, oh, really? Well, great. Well, so you always look at what's that quickest way to get someone to start engaging in the conversation. All right?
Gotcha. Great, man. Thanks. I'm testing it out, so I appreciate it.
You got it, pal. Great. Next question. Who's next on the hit parade? Adam Slazer. What's up, buddy?
How's it going, Mr. Belfort? How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you? Oh, you got cut off. Adam Slazer got accidentally disconnected. Here he is. We're back. Adam, what's up?
Hey, I'm just telling you, I'm loving your straight line system. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. So it's working so well that we have had like amazing growth. I'm the co-founder of a doctor supervised weight loss company, and we've actually blown up because we're doing a virtual protocol where patients don't even have to come into the office, okay? And we work primarily with chiropractors. So here's my question. We have several products that are part of our program, okay? And we've got this one component of it that's kind of the cherry on top. It's not really like the key to the success of it. And due to COVID-19 and our growth, and us wanting to have the highest quality, because all our products are made in America, not Russia, India, or China, it's on back order, okay? So my question to you is, have you ever encountered something where you're trying to move the company to the next level, you know the product's coming in, we've got some options where, hey, we sent out an email like, hey, we don't have this now, but there's some other ways around it. But in selling it and moving forward, how do I, number one, I know I have to put my acting shoes on because I have to still be confident about it. But I guess that leads my question, like, how do we sell it where we don't lose the momentum that we built and worked so hard to build, if that makes sense?
Yeah, buddy, I have the perfect solution for you. So let me give you an example of how I've adapted to COVID-19. So in one of the, my business has many different divisions, right? One of them was live events. I go around the world and I love speaking, and sometimes it'll be where it's like an actual seminar where they're selling tickets, and I go to a country or a city and 5,000 people will show up and it's all amazing and that's a great thing. And then other times I get hired by a company to go up and just do a training for that company or an organization, right? This is a flat fee and so forth, right? I had many events that was scheduled, and then they were just all of them wiped out, right? Because there's just no more live events for a while, right? So what did I do? Well, the first thing, you take stock, and then we try to work with everybody who postponing events. But ultimately, the solution we came up with was, we're still going to do live events now, but let's do a hybrid. So we combine a virtual event with an actual event. So it will be a two-step process. It allows me to sign the contract now, get a smaller payment up front right now to do the virtual portion right now. And then when I can make deliveries, so to speak, then they pay the second payment. So what would the solution be for you? Would be to take whatever that product is and come up with a virtualized format. So you have them sign for it. You have a smaller payment due right now, and they get the virtualized portion now, and then you give them the other portion when it shows up on back order. So those change the offer. So okay, here's great. It starts off like this. So I don't know what it is. You don't have to say it out loud. It probably doesn't even matter. The point is, whatever the service is, I'm sure there's something that you could do that creates a variation of that you can deliver at least some value to them right now. So you don't, in other words, what I didn't do, I didn't lower the price of my live events. I just said, okay, I actually am giving them more value now. They get the same live event, plus they get the virtual event right now. I'm still charging the same amount for the live event, but now I'm still signing contracts every day, getting more cash flow in. So it allows me to keep now in my calendar, and eventually I'll get the second payment, the bigger payment down the road. So for you, it would be finding the virtualized thing you can give them right now. You don't raise the price of the product, whatever you're charging, but it's a little extra work you're doing right now, but still you're giving massive value to the people, and you're getting the contract signed now. You're not waiting for something that's delayed showing up. Does that make sense?
It does, but here's the difference. The difference is we're selling to doctors only. It's a doctor supervised program, okay? And so the doctors are making it virtual. We teach them how to do that. These are products.
If you want to get specific, if you give me specifics, I can help. It's, Harvey, I'm just giving you that sort of, you understand the philosophy of what I'm saying, right?
I got you though. Yeah, I just think we just need to just stay afloat until that product comes in. What's the product? What's the product? Explain to me. Well, it's a nutraceutical. It's an all natural product. It's not a drug, but it helps burn fat for fuel, and it's a 60-day protocol. And one of the products is our B12, and that B12 product is kind of like the cherry on the sundae. It's not what's going to help them really lose the weight. It's the other two products that we offer, and so we're trying to sell it to doctors to get it to patients. And what product are you having trouble getting right now that's backordered? It's B12. Okay. And you can't get that. It's coming from where? China? No, it's made. That's the problem. It's made here in America from a GMP lab, good manufacturing process lab. And because there's certain shortages due to COVID-19, and we want the highest quality, it's on back order right now. All right, so I can get you that. I know a place. Listen, I have you want to know, one of my closest friends in the world has the most well-respected manufacturer of exactly these products, and he's like a legend he's one of my closest friends in the world. Like we're roommates in college, all right? And I'm sure I can hook you up with him. He can get you as much of this stuff as you want, like tomorrow, because he has a massive he's got the top. He has the top highest, like pharmaceutical quality stuff. All right. Okay. And the guy's an incredible guy. So why don't you just do me a favor and let me in fact, let me just give you his I'm gonna give you his companies. Let me do I don't want to do whatever. Do me if you just message Marcus privately, and I'm gonna give Mark, his name is Mark, by the way. I'm gonna hook you up with this guy. He can solve your problem. I know he can. He has literally a massive manufacturing facility, and it's the highest rated one in the country. And how do I contact you to get his info? Where do you want me to reach out? Go to Marcus right now, my guy he's actually doing all this. He will text you privately right now, and he's going to text you the information, okay? Awesome. Thanks so much, JB. I appreciate you. You got it, pal. Take care. Who's next? Per Christensen.
Hello, John.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Thank you very much. I have a question that's a bit different from the other one. I'm interested in commission structure and your sort of experience with that. I'm starting a recruitment company, and it's in life sciences, so it's a pretty good time at the moment. I'm going to hire a lot of salespeople, and I'm struggling a bit with how to get the commission structure right, or how to.
Right, stop for 1 second. So where do you live, first of all? What country?
Czech Republic.
Czech Republic.
Yes.
I love the Czech people. The Czech people are some of the smartest people out there. Seriously, you guys are awesome. I was in the Czech Republic back in 93 when you were privatizing the economy back then, and I was trying to corner the market in coupons back then for when they were doing the privatization. The Czechs are like really, really smart. So, you know, they were always like it was like actually the jewel of Eastern Europe. The Czech Republic. Prague was like a really happening city, which is no surprise that it bounced back so strongly after the separation from Czechoslovakia. So you're trying to start a recruitment company for life sciences?
Yes, but it's going to be in Denmark. It's not going to be in Czech Republic.
Okay, Denmark, same difference, right? Copenhagen, right? I love that place too, all right? I was there recently for the Mariah Carey concert a few years back. A friend of mine was dating Mariah Carey, and we flew there on his jet, and it was awesome. All right, so you want to recruit salespeople for life?
My own organization. No, it's for my own organization.
How many salespeople do you want?
As many as possible.
How many?
15, 16 people over 2 years is the plan.
Okay, and who are they going to be calling on?
The majority is going to be calling for sourcing, but I'm going to have probably 3 or 4 people doing client calls.
Okay, so this is a very it's not a cut and dry question, because there's certain do's and don'ts, and let me, for the sake of everyone here, let me start with some big picture stuff here, right? Number one, when you're designing a compensation plan, remember what you're trying to do here is create a situation that doesn't end up with salespeople who are going very deep, meaning they go to a few companies and just maximize those companies, but stop going wide and opening up new accounts. So if you got to be very careful that the compensation structure that you create for your sales force doesn't incentivize that type of behavior. In fact, I've been to many companies where I was called in to help them solve the problem where their sales force, the salesmen were making too much money because they had landed like 1 or 2 big accounts, and they just kept reordering, and so the salespeople had no motivation to keep calling on new accounts, right? So the sort of compensation structure I prefer, and I always recommend, is one that incentivizes the salespeople for opening up new accounts, also incentivizes them for developing that account. So making sure they continue to maximize each account. But what they have to do in order to keep collecting residual commission on accounts, they have to continue to open up a certain number of new accounts each quarter. So make sure that whatever you do, you don't want to have it so that someone could open up 5 accounts and they're like their accounts, and they keep receiving residuals, and they stop working, and they're just sitting there being lazy, and next thing you know, you're paying a lot of salespeople who are just order takers, right? So depending on, there's no reason I can't answer you specifically, is because it depends on, is the program you're selling, does it have residual income? Are there repeat buyers? Are you targeting big companies or small companies? Because if it's just single sales without a big, is there a large life of customer value, or is it a very small life of customer value? Because depending on that is what's going to happen. If it's a very strong lifetime value, or it's going to continue, one client will be with the company for 5 years, and you need to be very careful that the structure that you put in place does not incentivize a salesperson just to focus on 1 or 2 accounts and not continue to open up more accounts for you.
And how can you do that?
By tying continuing them to receive their residuals, they have to open up a certain number of new accounts each quarter. So you make sure that, okay, well, without knowing what the metrics are, but you come up with metrics that say, okay, in order for a salesperson to continue to receive their residual income, they need to bring X amount of new business in as well. So you tie there, and if they don't, let's say they're receiving 10% residual, if they don't hit that threshold, their residual goes down to 5%. And if they really screw up and bring nothing in, it goes down to 1 or 0%. So you make sure that in order for a salesperson to receive their residual commission, they continue to bring in new business. That's an important safety check there, okay? Also, I'm a big believer in making sure that you pay your people at least some salary or draw. Now, but don't let them stay on it very long if they're not producing. But, in the beginning, you should have something because you want to have the salespeople working for you. They have to come to work at a certain time. It's a very tricky business. Listen, don't get me wrong. I love commission-based salespeople. And I've always built my business on that. But in the beginning, I have them have a very small draw just so you essentially own them. They're not just, if they just like commission, they come and go. They don't show up. You want to make sure that you have the right to say so, and you better show up to work at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning. So make sure you include that as well. And also, I'd like to also make sure, don't set up a situation where it's too easy for someone to make too much money or too hard for them to make a real living. You have to find this sweet spot in your marketplace of what, and the way you do that is, it depends on what country you're in, and also just what the industry tolerates. If you have an industry where like the highest paid salespeople make $60,000, you're not going to get a very high quality of salesperson. The best closers will gravitate towards the industries that can make a lot more than that. So you have to design your compensation structure around the realities of whatever it is you're doing. You don't want to set unrealistic goals of people or create unrealistic expectations. But remember this, based on what someone could make, that's the quality of salesperson you want to attract. If you try to attract top producers for what's a very low paying job, you're going to end up losing them again and again and again. So it depends on the industry. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So what I would suggest you do is in the next time we speak, kind of come up with like the answer to those questions. What is the profile? What do they make? And then run those by me. We'll get specific the next time. All right?
Perfect.
All right. Thanks. Next question. Hello. Who do we got?
Hi. Now I'm selling for a company that has a single product. Okay, so I basically made a script for sell better. What I want to ask you is if a script could damage my selling skills.
I don't. Start again. What's your name?
Tommaso. Nice
Tommaso. Where are you from?
Italy.
Italy. All right. How are things in Italy? Everything good?
Yeah, pretty good.
Opening up again? You guys are open for business?
Yes.
Okay. What business are you in? What's the industry?
Video course. Yeah, info business.
Video courses, like teaching people how to?
Yes, how to make a business.
How to start a business?
Yeah.
Okay. And your question is what?
Now I made a script for selling better. Okay.
Selling on the telephone, over the telephone or in person?
On the telephone.
Okay.
Okay. And I want to ask you if simply following this script could in future damage my selling skills.
Well, a well-written script is meant to enhance your selling skills. A poorly written script will damage your ability to sell. So in other words, it's the question is the quality of the script. So what the script is meant to be is it represents the absolute best possible version of what you're trying to accomplish. You should, when you write a script, you need to go and really follow the rules of the straight line script writing. If you follow all those rules and you create a great script, the script is your most useful tool to increase your selling. If you try to wing it and just, write it by chance, it might very well hurt you. Every time I work with a company, I insist that they develop a script, even if it's in person. Not because then you just memorize it. So you want to know what you're going to say before you say it. Remember this, every movie that you've ever seen that's moved you emotionally, every TV series that you've binged watched that keeps you going from episode to episode, every single time you've cried, laughed, or been excited, or hung on the edge of your seat, they're all actors reading from scripts.
Okay.
You get it? Sometimes the scripts suck, so the movie sucks. Sometimes it's a great script and the movie, they always say, bad script, bad movie. Well, guess what? Poorly written sales script, bad sale. You get it? Spend the time. Make sure, do you own the script builder or the certification program? If you own one of those, really take the time to go through that. Make sure you follow it step by step. It really gives you an excellent blueprint that can allow you to create amazing scripts. All right?
Okay. So I can sell
okay,
to the user.
Yes, but make sure the script, when I write a script, my friend, I spend a lot of time on that. I make sure I don't cheat that part. I spend a lot of time working on the script, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
You got it.
Thank you.
Next person. It's an interesting question, everyone, by the way, because just remember, like that, it's garbage in, garbage out. Excellence in, excellence out. Who's next?
Hey, JB, how's it going?
What's your name?
My name's Justin, and I'm just getting started. I lost my job a couple months ago. I'm a doctor of physical therapy and strength and fitness coach. So, definitely trying to take advantage of the times right now. I'm an out-of-network practice, so we're cash-based. So basically the biggest, thing that I hear when people call and I'm talking to them, they just want to know, hey, do you take my insurance? That's the number one thing that people are asking. And I just want to know if you've talked to anybody else in this industry and, basically what's your advice on kind of how to get over that initial question, just talking about insurance. Typically I try to, find out their why they're calling, they're injured, they can't do the things they like to do and kind of go that route. But I just want to see if you had any other ideas on that one.
So let me let's go back a step. So what you're saying is that you provide a service that people can get either through insurance or without insurance. But we all know that the things that you get through insurance are typically not as good as the ones you get by paying cash. And you certainly lose the convenience to be able to choose your doctor and the whole sorts of things, right? So there are many, many advantages to paying cash. And while in some cases, if people simply can't, they have no money, they have to rely on insurance. But I think every smart person knows that you get what you pay for. And if you want the best, you're typically going to have to put some money out of your pocket, right? That's right. We all know, I think most people know that about doctors and physical therapists, right? My question is so you absolutely don't take any insurance?
No, we don't take any insurance, but they can be reimbursed. It just depends on the insurance. So it's not like a cut and dry, like yes or no.
Fine. So let's do the call. So you call up and say what? What do you say? And I'll play the person.
So yeah, they call and I'm like, this is Wilderness Performance Therapy and Strength Training. This is Justin. How can I help you today?
And they say, I hurt my knee. Oh, really? What?
Typically they're like, oh, can I, do you guys take my insurance?
Yeah.
Then I'm usually like, that's a difficult question to answer. Do you mind if I ask you a few more questions on why you're calling today?
Let me ask you. No, stop. Okay, so that's not the way you want to handle that, right?
Okay.
So the answer is going to be, oh yeah, we actually take many types of insurance. We have an amazing reimbursement program. We work with you to make sure you get fully reimbursed. Let me ask you a couple of quick questions so I can see if I can help you out here. You need a better answer than that. Just say, okay. Remember what I said? I said, yeah, we take many types of insurance and we help you get reimbursements that way. So I said, yes, I agree. We accept many different types of insurance, and we actually work with you to make sure you get fully reimbursed. We have an excellent program for that. But more importantly, let me ask you this. Tell me about what happened. So that's obvious. See my tonality?
Right.
I said, we accept many types of insurance here, and we work with you to get reimbursed. And we work with you because you do accept it. Because they, or if you want to even say it better, you say, we work with many insurance companies. Yeah, and make sure you get fully reimbursed. But more importantly, let me ask you a question here. Tell me exactly what's going on, because we're specialists in a few key things here. I'm sure we can help you out. What's going on? Tell me.
Awesome.
You see the difference?
Absolutely.
Okay, so my answer, and there's two forms of it. One, the first one is probably less compliant, so I don't like it as much. When I thought it through a second time, you come up with a better saying, yeah, absolutely. We work with many different insurance companies to make sure people get fully reimbursed. Absolutely. But more importantly, tell me, what's exactly going on? Tell me the problem.
Awesome. Thank you.
So you reframed their question from one of, do you accept insurance? Yeah, of course we make sure our people get reimbursed with insurance. Tell me what's going on right now. You're going to get 10 times better response like that. All right, buddy?
Perfect. Love it.
All right. Take care. Boom. That was a good one. Benjamin Whitley.
Hey, how are you doing?
My man. What's up, Ben?
Hey. If you recall, do you remember we spoke 2 weeks ago on the webinar? It was about the existing customers of our company. You remember?
I remember your look. As soon as I saw you, I remember your face. Tell me refresh my recollection. I speak to a lot of people every day.
Yeah, I can imagine. No, so we.
What type of industry is it? Tell me that. I'll remember. As soon as you tell me, I'll remember.
That was we're selling high ticket tax coaching, and we launched launched a new product, and I'm having some challenges closing on the first call. I remember you recommended most of the closes should happen in the first call, but my biggest challenge is to present the product properly, because it's hard to explain the benefits of the product, like more the features. It's included masterminds, it's included mentoring for crisis support, of the economical crisis. And I'm really having problems to loop around that. So that's my biggest challenge at the moment. And I wanted to ask you if you have a tip how to.
Well, let me ask you a question. So when you say you're having problems explaining the benefits, right? Let's unpack that for a second. So tell me, what are the benefits? If you had to ever, in a non-salesy way, what are the benefits of what you do?
Well, that's the question. I always load the features because I think in my head they make sense. It's for example.
Tell me what the features are then. Just make it easy for me. Make it easy on yourself. Tell me what the features are.
Okay, so you have 7 mentoring sessions with a mentor from the stock market or the real estate industry or whatever pops up in the crisis. You get insider information before they go public because we have a network. You get access to a mastermind with these experts and the other people that are there, and basically you get the whole contact of the of the network. You get into you can tap into the network, and also you get live webinars daily for half a year, that's up, keep you updated on what's going on in the market. And that's only for the premium customers. It's only for people that close tickets between 5,000 and 15,000 euros.
And what is the topic of these webinars? What are they learning on these webinars? What are they getting?
They're learning from experts in the specific fields of what chances show up in the crisis.
What?
The chances that show up in the crisis, for example, in the stock market or in the banks.
Opportunities, you mean, not opportunities.
Yeah, sorry, opportunities. Yeah, not chances.
It's okay.
There's language barrier, so.
You're doing well. You're doing well. Okay, so what is this an investment advisory service?
No, it's basically a deal maker's platform where you can connect with the experts, get advice, like get mentoring support. And
who is the customer though? Who are you trying to open up?
Existing customers. It's only for existing customers that have already paid like high ticket seminars or high ticket.
Dude, this should be so easy. I mean, come on. This should be really easy. Wait. Okay. Let's stop for a second here. It might require a bit more work than I could do with you on a telephone call. But how many customers are you talking about? How many customers do you have that are already on the system, that are already paying you money?
The new one?
No, the old, no. You said you're calling people who already know you.
6,500.
6,500 customers that are active customers, right?
Yeah.
And now you're trying to upsell them into someone else on a phone call, right?
Yeah.
This should be like a dunk shot. This should be like a really high closing rate. So what are they paying on the first program, the current program?
Between 5,000 and 15,000 euros
a year.
No. Like for the coaching, for the whole program. It's like it's basically structured like your SLSC. It's like with live seminars, with an online academy, with documents to restructure your company structure to make it tax efficient, stuff like this. I must say the program is pretty complicated.
So are you selling to business owners or your clients?
Mostly, yeah.
So mostly business owners, right? And the business owners, and you're offering them advice in how to essentially for investment opportunities, how to make their businesses. So is it basically just business coaching, business consulting is what you're doing?
Yeah, business mentoring. That's what we offer.
Business mentoring.
An exclusive style of business mentoring for taking opportunities in the crisis.
Right. And now the new program differs in what way?
Well, the first one was mainly how to restructure your business to make it tax efficient. And the new one is how to take opportunities in the crisis, like to make.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And the price of the new program is what?
10 and 15K, depending on what what program you book.
Right. All right. And how many people do you have working for you doing this? Are you selling it on the telephone, right?
Yeah, we have, we're like sales force of 10 to 12 people so far.
Okay. You need, listen, this is all gonna, it's just shocking that you're having a problem. This is like a dunk. This is a real easy thing to do here. So what you need to be doing is, it's a combination of a few things. Number one is this, I can't spend I could spend, a day on this whole thing, but the point is part of it's going to come down to the structure of your offer, how you're offering to them, what the payment strategy is, how much it costs them to take advantage of this thing right now to say yes, what the rescission period is, what's the downside, what's the way you want to frame this basically is you want to use the straight line to engage in. There is no way this needs to be a 2-call close. Absolutely not. There should be a 1-call close, and you should be doing it by, and what you should be doing is setting up. I'd be doing this over Zoom calls where you could do a screen sharing thing and create an online presentation that you're taking them through over the Zoom call. So you will now bring the visual aspect into the call, okay, which is going to be really, really helpful to explain complex things. So almost like a PowerPoint presentation you're taking them through as you're going through the call. But most importantly here, that will be most important for the close when you're stacking all the benefits, right? What I would do is, this is a perfect example of a step down sale as well, where I would start asking for even a bigger commitment for the first time, then having like sort of ways for them to say, if the program is 25,000, then you can go down to 50. Slowly as you ask for the order, give them ways to step down to close. You should be able to close this on one call, but it's going to become that to me, it's such an easy solution here. In other words, it's going to take time to dig into everything you're doing and come up with a perfect way of how do you essentially highlight the value proposition. What's the worst that can possibly happen if they sign up? What's the upside over the long term in the way of X, Y, Z, A, B, C? And you're going to need to basically have that in a very cohesive way to, listen, dude, we would take people that had invested like $4,000 and the second trade would be $500,000. I mean, like, this is not hard to do here. So you're obviously, what's happening right now is your script is flawed. The way you're going about it is flawed, the way you're explaining it. So you have to go back to the beginning here. And it's about, listen, you're speaking to smart, it sounds like you're speaking to smart people, right?
Yeah.
You have to come up with a really, really strong value proposition here. And what that script does, it's like, there's two things. You're building a logical case of why this makes, just incredible sense. And to me, listen, the reason for the call today, as you all know, is like, it is times like these in crisis where the most incredible opportunities come up. And the difference that we see people that really make the big money, those that know how to take advantage, identify and take advantage of those opportunities. We developed a program that does exactly that. Let me take it through step by step. Sound good? They say, great. All right. And then you say, great. Now, then you start unpacking the program. It does this, it does that, it does this, it does that. And then you take it so far down, you ask for the order for the first time, expect them to say no, and then you get a loop back and say, wait, let me ask you this, does the program make sense to you? Do you like the program? Say, yeah, it sounds pretty good. You say, exactly, it really is a good program. In fact, the true beauty is, and now your second presentation, your loop is going to start really building up the certainty. You have to spend time unpacking this program here. It's going to come down to really having kick-ass scripts. It sounds like you're sitting on a gold mine here, like literally, like with the right system, you can make yourself 10, 15 million bucks a year off this, it seems like. Yeah, I know, I'm doing the math. It's 6,500 people, a $15,000 program. If you get, 20% of them to buy, even 10%, you're talking massive money here, right? So it behooves you to spend the time doing this exactly right here. I love the idea. It's right in the sweet spot of the straight line, but you got to really take the time to get this right. Because I know I've been at companies like where I've done actual in-person consulting where like you go in there, they're not closing at all. And then you do it the right way and the close rate's like 30%. It's like one of those things because if this is like either you get it right when you get to that level of money, it's 15,000 euros. If it's not exactly right, no one buys. But exactly. If it's exactly right, a lot of it's like not like it's a 1%. When you get it right, it's a like 30% buy, and when it's this much wrong, no one buys. That's not the same for a $1,000 product. People take flyers even when they're not that certain. When you get to the higher price items here, they got to be really fucking certain that it makes sense, right? And that's what, and the purpose of all those loops is just that. So it's all about the back half and it's what happens after they say, let me think about it. And you need to have this airtight way of unpacking this and then train these people to do this at the highest level. It is a perfect application of the straight line at the highest level. So I would encourage you to really, really spend the time or reach out to Matt, my in-house guy, have a conversation. Maybe you and I could do something privately together if it makes sense to you. But this is a big enough deal that the upside for you is not $1 million. It's in the tens of millions and then some. So I would give Matt a call. You go to a Matt, M-A-T-T, at jordanbelfort.com. Shoot him or text him Matt's number, Marcus, please. Okay, and give Matt a text and talk to Matt. Maybe there's something we could do. I love the business model. Okay, I love this business model. All right, and I know for sure if you did it right, it would just literally you'd smash it. So it might be worth making that investment. All right, buddy.
Yep. Thank you so much, man.
Good to see your face again. You gotta take care.
Thank you.
Next call. That's a good one, guys. Remember, like that's, why did I say it's a good one? The reason I say it's a good one is because you look at the numbers, okay? That's an example, like, that's a real high ticket sale. It's not ultra, but 15, that's $20,000 about. I'm not sure what the euro is today, but you're talking $20,000. That's every 50 people, you get it, is $1 million. And he's got 6,500 to call. Do the math. With the right application of the straight line, that guy would be making $20 million a year at a snap. All right. Kenneth, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how are you, Jordan?
Doing great.
Yeah. Yes. Doing good. I'm from Ottawa, Canada. So, yes, I bought your products, man. I got a script builder. I got the membership. I got a straight line, everything. So I just want to ask you a few questions because on the script builder, you designed one for the Locella group. And I'm in the, digital marketing agency, right? So, we serve businesses for online. What's happening here is when I'm asking the qualifying questions, it's designed a lot for the plumbers, right? And I sell.
Yeah, I just use that for that. By the way, that was like one of 20 people we ended up calling. You know, it could be for anything: dentists, plumbers, electricians. You know what I'm saying? So it applies to anything. But let's. What's your question?
Yeah. So, how would I, find some good qualifying questions that could really
For whom? For whom?
For pharmacists.
Pharmacist, great. So let me tell you how you do this. Did you get the certification program too, or no?
No, I haven't got certification.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Don't worry about it. No, listen. If you want to, you should. I'm sure if you call them up, they'd probably give you all your money back for the ones you bought. And the certification is so great. So, like when someone buys certification, I let them credit back the earlier stuff they got. So, because it's a better course. Because there's a section in certification where I actually take you through the process of how you actually. It's a really like intensive process of how you come up with the qualifying questions for your industry. So it's very, very detailed. It's like an unpacking. But the way you do it is, let me just give you some guidelines here, okay? So you can get some value out of this right now. And that is that number one, the guiding rule is that you don't want to ask any question that is not relevant to you closing the sale. Like you don't ask questions for the sake of asking questions. The biggest mistake I see people make when they come up with qualifying questions is they ask questions that the response does not elicit something that actually you need to know to close. So you work backwards. When you're creating your questions, say, what do you need to know before you decide whether or not it makes sense for this person to be going further down the straight line? In other words, you ask questions to see, A, is the product right for them? Like, can they even use your product? Because if the answer is no, guess what? You're going to be wasting your time trying to sell something that someone they don't need, right? Do they need your product? And then what is their financial situation? What problems have they had in the past? What other products have they used that are similar? Like the basic questions, the thrust of it is, are you using any similar types of services or products in the past? How are you currently solving the problem? Remember, business is about solving problems. How are they currently solving the problem as badly as they're solving it? I know it's not, whatever they're doing, they're not doing it well enough right now. But the point is they're using something. So what is that using? What would you change about the current way, the current product using? What's wrong with it? Also, what's right with it? What are the things that you like about the product? And then if you can design it yourself, if you could tailor the perfect solution here for this situation, what would that product look like? Like at the end of the day, that's what you're trying to find out. What are they using? What's happening right now? What pain are they in right now? What's really at the end holding, keeping them up at night? And what features do they like about what solution they have now? What do they hate about it? And if they could design the perfect solution themselves, what would that look like? That's really what you're trying to find out. And can they afford it?
Yeah, sounds good. But here I have another little question here because, see, I try to usually find problems that I could pinpoint for them to actually see that what they're having is not actually working out for them, right? But how do you use that using the straight line system? How would you input problems for them to actually realize there is a problem in the straight line?
Well, so it's the word problems is like, is sort of by framing it as a problem, it's more like, hey, what's currently happening? You say that word problem, it's like so what's your biggest problem right now? What's your biggest pain point right now? Those are really kind of odd words that you say this, I would never say this one. So what's your biggest pain point right now? It's like, so I then can use it to close you. It's so obvious and on the nose. It's more like you're a consultant. What's going on right now? Tell me, how are you doing things right now? What are you trying to sell? Let's get specific. What are you trying to sell them? You said you're calling pharmacists. What are you trying to sell?
Well, we sell it's Google rankings. So, on Google Maps, usually there's a local rankings. Usually there's a top 3 locations. We sell that.
Right. Okay. So tell me, so what's the first question you asked right now?
So the first question was, how do I get good qualifying questions? And the other question was,
no. What do you know? What's the first qualifying question you ask right now?
Oh, do you own the pharmacy? That's my first qualifying question. Then after I asked them a little bit about the revenue.
Oh, stop. You going see now you jump, don't jump. So the first question is, okay, so basically you're saying, are you the decision maker? Is that what you're trying to say?
Exactly. That's the first
Okay,
question.
so they might not own the pharmacy, right? But they could still be the decision maker, correct?
Exactly.
Right. So they all have websites, right? Every single pharmacy has a website, right?
Yeah, the majority of them.
Okay.
90%.
How many?
I'd say 90%. Some just don't have websites. I don't know why, but
Do you know that before you call them? Are you already aware that? Have you already looked at their website?
Well, I get to look at their Google page, so I get to see if they have a website or not.
Right. So you know that information before you call them, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So already you have two. So already there's a fork in the road here. You need to have one script for those people that have a website and for those people that don't have a website, right?
Because we don't necessarily work with the website, it doesn't really apply. We can do it with or without the website. That's the thing.
No, well, it does apply though, because what's happening is you're showing knowledge of their business. In other words, it does apply, because the way I would frame a call with someone that didn't have a website is going to be very, very different than the way I frame a call with someone that does have a website. So it doesn't have a website, it's obviously ass backwards when it comes to anything digital. So you can't handle a call from someone that doesn't have a website and say the same things as someone that does, right? Because if someone does have a website, the first question is, how's your website performing for you right now? Are you getting a lot of calls? Like you need to speak to someone like a human, not like, in other words, I think what's happening here is you're not looking at this like you're talking to actual human beings. Okay, these are human beings, right? And it's like, when you're really an expert, put yourself. How does the doctor, so tell me, so what's going on? Hey, so tell me, when did the problem start? What's wrong? It's like you got to talk to them like people. So I see, listen, if you call someone that doesn't have a website, what service are you selling them?
I'm selling them the fact that they can have their storefront on Google, pretty much, on the top position.
And the guy's gonna have on top position. So when they click on it and they don't have a website, what happens then?
Well, what happens? The person who's clicking on it will have the direction to the location and order from there, or make a phone call, or just go directly to the location, purchase their prescription, whatever it is.
I mean, I don't know about you, but like when I go to Google and I find a company like that, if I click on that and they don't have a website, like I'm pretty much
You're done. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I'm done. Like and I'm like everyone in the world is done. Like if they don't have a website, like all right, whatever. It's not even. It's probably some scam or whatever. Like at least like goes to. I'm going to click for the website. I just did it the other day. I was looking for something the other day, and I went through like one or two, and it didn't. And I'm sure they had a website, but just the way it was organized, it didn't take me there. I was like, forget it. I want the company's website before I do anything, right? So the point is, if someone doesn't have a website, that's like the easiest. Like listen. Reason for the call. I see. We work at specializing. I see right now that you're not on the front page of whatever. The point is, like, if they don't have one, that's a huge pain point right there. That like if you don't have one, I assume you're going to make them one, right? Or no, you don't do that.
Yeah, we do that. We do social media, websites.
Yeah, of course you do. Right. So in other words, so how you speak to that person is going to be very different than you speak to the person who's an expert already. It's to some level. He has a website. They're advertising. They might be using someone else. So now, so already, I'm saying this is a fork in the road. You remember this, buddy. You have to look at these people like people. So I think you're looking too mechanically right now. You're looking at a script for plumbers and thinking it doesn't. It applies to anything. It's the philosophy behind it is what would a plumber need to hear before he'd want to make a decision. So you ask the same question: what does a pharmacist need? Number one, either they have a website or they don't. They don't have a website. Okay, great. Well, I see you don't have a website right now. Okay, if you have 60 seconds, I'd like to tell you exactly how you could get a massive amount of traffic coming to your store, order whatever that you're trying to do. Okay, by simply getting yourself a website free of charge and having you on the front page of Google. You have a second? Got a minute? Like that's your opening line to the guy, right?
Yep, 100%.
And the guy says to you, "No, I don't want to advertise on Google. I don't want to have a web page. I think the web is stupid. The internet's stupid." What do you say? Great, have a nice day. Next. You're not going to get very far in life trying to get someone who doesn't want a web page to advertise on Google. You look at people your best customers are those that have one that's not doing shit for them. That's your best customer of all, right?
Yeah, 100%.
They've done the work already. They've tried it. It hasn't worked. The reason for the calls, we have a special program we use that's designed for people just like you to allow you to blow up your in-store traffic at a fraction of the cost as you used to do it. You have 60 seconds. I'd like to share the program. You got a minute? And I just made those words up there but you could do much better than that. It's my first blew it out of my mouth, stumbling over my words.
Good. Sounds good. I like it.
Well, for me, that's a 2 on a 10. But the point is that, you know what I'm saying? But the point, that's what you need to be doing, my friend, all right? Keep digging into this. If I were you, I would exchange your product for the certification program. It's just so much better, all right? But if you don't, at least take me...
But how can I get Oscar and get into straight line certification?
Just Google, what's Oscar? I'll send you Oscar's number right now. Okay, buddy?
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
All right, bye. Next. So funny because he loved that pitch, right? For me, that was like a 1. But still, the point is, guys, it's very easy because what I'm doing is I'm thinking about things in terms of, remember, we speak to human beings. It's not so mechanical. And as long as you remember that, you can start making sense of the whole thing. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, Jordan? So my question is, I've got a lot of deals out there right now that are like...
What's your name?
Andrew.
Andrew. All right, Andrew, what's up?
So the reason for my question is I got a lot of deals out there where I'm like walking people down the line. The process, but let me tell you, your process totally works. As soon as I started using it, phone calls and deals just started happening. So thank you for that.
Love it. My pleasure.
So my problem is, as I'm walking down the line, I'm getting them to agree with me. I'm finding out what their pain points are. As I get there, I'm like, okay, well, this is how we can solve it, how simple it is. And they're like, okay, I really like it. Then, because we do 2 calls and we do in-home. I sell solar. So I give them the proposal on the second call, or I show up to the house. They're like, oh yeah, I really like this. Let me talk to my spouse. I need to think about it. Let me show it to a friend. That is killing me. And I need to know how to figure that out. And
sure.
I tried the other day.
Sure. Remember this, okay? When someone says they want to speak to their spouse, right? What they're basically saying is like, I'm not certain enough that if I make this decision in the absence of my husband or my wife, that when she or he walks through the door, they're not going to fucking kill me that I made this decision. Because if it ends up going the wrong way, I will never be able to live this down for the rest of my life. They'll be saying, I told you so forever, right? So just understand what's really happening. Now let's be honest with this. There's a very big difference between someone saying, let me speak to my wife or my husband, and when it comes to certain types of sales, versus I want to talk to a friend. Right? If someone says they want to talk to a friend, you can overcome that one 100% of the time. Okay. You can. All right? Because that's just a total blow up. It's not real. It's bullshit. Sometimes, depending on the family dynamic, they really might have to speak to their spouse. It's possible that they just listen. They might say, no, I get it, buddy. I love what you're saying, and I trust you. It sounds like I just can't. If I do this, my wife is going to literally kill me. And I'm going to end up getting divorced, and I'm not getting divorced because of you. Right. And then. What you're not going to say to that person is, but let me say this, that you can't keep looping that person and shoving it down their throat, because it gets to a point where it's really diminishing returns. That being said, you won't know if they really have to speak to their husband or wife until they stick to that objection 2 or 3 times. If they keep sticking to the same objection again and again, you get to this point, it might be real. They simply can't do it, right? One of the things with certain types of selling with solar, it's always better to have the husband and wife together at the same time. However, when you can't and you're making the pitch, what it comes down to is this: 2 things. Number 1 is the fact that with solar, they can cancel and lose nothing. Yeah. They can cancel. So there's 2 things going on. This is important for everyone here on this call to listen to this, because there's 2 things intersecting. One is that when someone says they want to speak to someone else, it's typically a lack of logical certainty, meaning in their own mind, they're not really sure that they can make the case as strongly as you have made it to them. So they're nervous that if they make the decision unilaterally, they can't explain why to someone else in a way that will make the other person say, okay, I see why you made the decision, smart move. So that's why I said, when someone is really logically certain, they actually, in their own mind, can connect all the dots. They understand A, B, C, D, and they feel confident that if someone else were to challenge their decision to say yes, they can defend their decision. If their wife was at home, no, honey, let me explain. Let me explain exactly why I did this. There's no reason not to do that. So you need to be making an irrefutable, scream from the hilltops, airtight, logical case to this person in order to get someone to make a decision in the absence of another party that they like not, I don't mean the friend is bullshit. I'm talking to someone else in the house that really might matter, right? So part of this is going to be about really strengthening up your logical case so that you make it like point A, so that it's so undeniable that they're like, I get it. I really, which is why you'll notice that someone might say, I have to speak to my wife, and after the second loop, they'll suddenly close because something that you said in that second loop was so powerful, like, fuck, I get it. I really can't miss this opportunity, especially if you can put in urgency. So this is where urgency becomes very important. If there's something that you can work into your marketing program that allows them, if they make the decision now, they save more money, and then you couple that with their ability to cancel on the other side, meaning, and if by the way, your wife, and she says no, you could always cancel, so watch. This is where your action threshold lowering padding comes into play. After I've got someone so certain about the whole thing, where they just like, they get it, they know, I'm like, and John, let me ask you an honest question. What's the worst that can possibly happen? Let's say I'm wrong. Let's say you sign up for this and you come home, your wife blows up. She goes, you're an idiot. How did it? And you call me back and you cancel the program. And it doesn't cost you even a penny. It's not going to destroy your life. He'll say, no. I say, exactly. But on the upside, okay, once you explain this to your wife, she sees the benefit right now, the extra savings that you got by making this decision now. And by the way, I'm more than happy to get back on the phone with her after we've started to confirm again, to explain to her as well, but you've saved the extra money by signing up now, okay? Believe me, John, she's going to be kissing you when she walks in the door. All I'm asking for is this. Give me one shot here. Let's get started right now. I'll give you the interim discount that you get right now for signing up today. That's only for signing up today, okay? We'll go through all the paperwork. If for some reason your wife wants to cancel, absolutely, we could always cancel. Believe me, John, that is not going to be happening here, because if you're even 1/10 as thrilled and she's even 1/10 as thrilled as all my other customers just like you, not only we should be kissing you when she walks in the door, but I'm going to ask you, in fact, I'm going to demand that you give me referrals, because that's how my business truly grows. Does that sound fair enough?
Holy, that's like exactly the pieces I feel like are missing. I'm not bringing up the ability to cancel, which I think would make a huge difference.
All right.
You just totally brought up weighing out the positives and negatives. And then like the whole, like, you know, I can even call and speak to your wife if that makes you feel better. That is amazing.
Remember, buddy, I want you to get them first. The first part is to get into ultra high level of certainty. And also, you don't bring the possibility to cancel, because you don't want to sell cancellation, because that will create more. But it's that last piece. Like, if you can't get them without it, I'd rather you throw that in there and run that last loop and lower the action threshold, right? And then it's better than trying to track them back, because you never get them back a second time. So you want to close on this call. You do that, your close rate will soar, my friend, all right?
That's amazing. Thank you, Jordan.
You got it. Take care. Next victim. Oh, that's it. Good. I love you all. That was a great session today. A lot of great stuff learned. Take action now. Guys, this is the time. This is the time to get rich. One more. We got one more. Okay, one more question. What is it? Quick answer. Quick 60-second answer. Todd, what's up?
Dude, you can't bounce, man.
What's up, my friend?
Nothing. Hey, quick question on the, you're familiar with the SDR role, right? So.
Yes.
Thoughts on, I'm on the wrong camera. Sorry to be showing the top of my dome. Thoughts on trying to automate that process using inbound versus the actual SDR team. So trying to take the cold calling piece away from the closer. So I talked to you last week. I've digitized the 310s, right? I've turned that into an email and sequencing, text messaging sequence along with it. So what I'm trying to do is be able to book higher quality or farther down the funnel appointments for a closing.
Yes.
Without having to hire the SDR piece to that, if that makes sense. You seen it?
The only way to do, yes, but you got to test it out. It's a matter of testing, all right? So you need to test it out, you got to run enough marketing through that, see what your metrics are, and if you and then you have to test it against the other way. It's literally, there's no answer without seeing the data. It's a data-driven answer, okay? So I would run both. I'd run both of them side by side and do a split test, an A/B split test for about 10 days or so. Get enough data so it's statistically significant, and then we can have that conversation again.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, brother.
All right, brother. All right, guys. Love you all. We'll talk again next week. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend.